So what if I told you that our reality, from the tiny little engines inside your own cells to the actual fabric of space-time, is all running on a series of hidden codes, invisible languages that we're only just now starting to figure out?
Let's start with a kind of a weird question. Right at this very moment, are you glowing? Emitting your own light? The answer is yes, and it's pretty wild.
So for our first code, we're going to go down to the smallest possible scale. We're talking about the invisible language of our very own cells.
Now, this might look like something out of a sci-fi movie, but what you're seeing is a completely real series of images of a human hand in total darkness. That faint glow that starts to appear, that is real. It's called ultra-weak photon emission, or more simply, biophotons. You see, this light is a totally natural byproduct of just being alive. Every single second, all those millions of chemical reactions happening inside your cells, especially inside the mitochondria, they release these tiny little bursts of energy as photons. It's like the literal spark of life, just way too faint for our eyes to ever pick up. But here's where it gets really mind-bending. Is this glow just random noise? Is it just metabolic exhaust? Or is it something more? Some researchers have this incredible theory that it's not waste light at all. They think it could be a super fast, super complex communication network. A way for ourselves to coordinate with each other at the speed of light. A biological internet made of pure light.
Okay, so if our cells are maybe whispering to each other with light, let's zoom out a little to a code we're all familiar with, our DNA. And that brings up another one of those great questions. What on earth do you actually have in common with a banana?
All right, let's jump into our second code. We're going to tackle a really common piece of pop science trivia and get to the bottom of our surprising family connection to the banana.
You've probably heard this before, right? It's one of those amazing little factoids that gets thrown around all the time. But is it actually true? Well, the reality is, as usual, a whole lot more interesting than the myth.
So here's the key. It's all about the difference between DNA and genes. Think about your entire DNA sequence as a giant cookbook. We don't share 60% of the whole book with a banana, not even close. But about 60% of our genes, the actual recipes in the book for making proteins, have a recognizable cousin in the banana's cookbook. These are the ancient, really essential recipes for basic cell functions that we both inherited from a common ancestor billions of years ago.
And this timeline just shows you how deep that connection really goes. Our shared ancestor with bananas was a single-celled organism from about 2 billion years ago. That fundamental operating system for life written in DNA has just been passed down and tweaked ever since, connecting every single living thing on this planet.
Okay, so a genetic code can build one individual. That makes sense. But what about programming a whole society? How do you write the code for a superorganism that acts as one giant entity?
For our third code, we're going to look at a totally different kind of software, a social algorithm. And our case study is the incredibly efficient and, let's be honest, kind of terrifying fire ant colony.
Check out this breakdown of their sleep schedule. It's just wild. The queen, she gets a pretty solid 9.4 hours of sleep, but it's broken up into about 90 longer naps. The workers, though, they take over 250 tiny 1-minute power naps a day, adding up to less than 5 hours of sleep. So why do they do that? It's because this system ensures the colony is never offline. At any given moment, 80% of the entire workforce is awake, on duty, and ready to go. It's a social algorithm where the disposable workers maximize their uptime to protect the queen and the colony as a whole. It's genius, really.
So ants have this collective intelligence, one mind made of many bodies. But what if you flipped that idea on its head? What if you took the intelligence of one creature and distributed it all throughout its body?
And that brings us to our fourth code, and to one of the most truly alien minds on our own planet, the octopus. This animal completely rewrites the rules for what a brain can be. I mean, they're just amazing creatures. They're masters of disguise, they're brilliant problem solvers, they're notorious escape artists. But the real secret to their intelligence isn't just what's in their head. This is the secret right here. An octopus has about 500 million neurons, but get this, a full 2/3 of them aren't in its central brain. They're located out in its arms. Each arm basically has its own mini-brain. The result is that each arm can literally think for itself. It can touch, taste, and move on its own, without direct commands from the central brain.
It's so autonomous that an amputated arm can keep moving and grasping for up to an hour. That's what we call embodied intelligence, where the mind isn't just in the head, it's woven into the body itself.
Okay, we've seen codes in our cells, in our DNA, in ant societies, and in the body of an octopus. But now, it's time to zoom out one last time to a code that governs not just life, but absolutely everything, the universe itself. For our fifth and final code, we are talking about the laws of physics. Specifically, we're talking about Einstein's theory of general relativity and the truly strange idea that gravity literally bends the flow of time. And this isn't just a theory, it's a measurable fact. Scientists did this incredible experiment where they took two hyper-accurate atomic clocks, put one at a low elevation and put the other on top of a mountain. And the results were crystal clear. The clock on the mountain, where gravity is just a tiny bit weaker, ticked measurably faster. Time literally runs at different speeds depending on where you are in a gravity field.
Now, why does this matter to you? One word: GPS. The satellites orbiting Earth are in much weaker gravity, so their clocks run faster by about 45 microseconds a day. At the same time, they're moving super fast, which makes their clocks slow down by about 7 microseconds. The net effect? Their clocks gain 38 microseconds every single day. If we didn't constantly correct for this code of space-time, your GPS would be off by 10 kilometers after just one day. It would be totally useless.
So there you have it, 5 hidden codes, working at every scale you can imagine. We've got the invisible language of biophotons, the universal code of life in DNA, the social algorithm of the ant colony, the embodied mind of the octopus, and finally, the fundamental code of space-time that makes our world work.
Our reality is just layered with these invisible operating systems, dictating the rules of the game from the quantum level all the way up to the cosmic. And it really just leaves you with one final thought. What other codes are out there, still running silently in the background, just waiting for us to find them?